songs are slow and sad. I don't know what's wrong with me.
Welcome back to the Sad Song Queens podcast. This is part 2 of our conversation with music supervisor Madonna Wade-Reed. We had the best time talking with Madonna and talking about our favorite sad songs of the 90s. We still have one more pick to go, and we want to hear more about some highlights of Madonna's music supervision career and why music supervisors kind of have superpowers. So grab those tissues, and we're diving back into it with Madonna Wade-Reed.
My honorable mention.
peaked.
Oh,
Is it yours too?
Yeah, it's the most recent song that was on your...
2011.
Yeah.
Adele.
Oh,
Someone
I
like
mean,
you.
yeah, of
Hits
course.
all of them.
Of course. It's perfect.
But here's what's really funny about this one. So that line I heard that you've settled down, that you found a girl and you're married now.
Ugh.
So here, yeah.
I know.
Which to me, this is my rabbit hole of what people do with sad songs is in the day and age of social media, that happens. People go
Yeah.
online, you go online, and you're like, oh, whatever happened to? And then you're like, you see
Yeah.
this, except in her song, obviously, organically, she comes to find out potentially
Yeah.
that this is what's happened.
Yeah.
And I just think what it does a little differently than other sad songs is a lot of sad songs address the moment. And this is like a 1-2 punch. It's
Mhm.
like her heart got broken once, and then the wound opened up when you found out, like,
Yeah.
that moment, oh, like, not that
Yeah.
They
you
moved on.
you think they're coming back, yeah.
Yeah.
But they've really
It's not happening.
put down the roots,
It's really not happening.
and by the way, even if you're over it, I think nobody likes to find out
Yeah.
that life went on without them, that life got
Totally.
better without them.
Yeah.
And so you found a girl, and
Yeah.
you settled down.
I think
think
that's
it's
why it
just like,
resonates for everyone. I
Yeah.
think that's why everyone, I remember seeing her, maybe it was like Palladium, and they were like, all these men are standing around me, and they were just like,
yeah.
and
It's
I was
like it
like,
hurt
oh,
once and then
Yeah.
it hurt again.
yeah.
And she also possesses, her vocals are just
The rawness
bananas.
of that performance.
Oh, yeah.
and bananas.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so she had that thing in her voice where you're like,
Mhm.
oh, girl, I believe you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
I-
can't just sit
I
there
am
and be
with you.
like, let me do my taxes. You're like, you
Yeah.
stop and you listen to that
Yeah.
song. You're not like, you're like, oh my God.
I mean, sometimes taxes make you cry.
Yeah.
I mean, in a different way, but the focus that you
Yeah.
need for that, 'cause
That
there's
was
other
my
stuff that can
that
be
was my more
I mean, perfect. Yeah.
current.
She would be a dream.
That's like an
outlier.
all-timer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
That-
one's, yeah.
that
Same
best
with
sad
like Bonnie
song.
Raitt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have my, okay, so my last part was once I was in Germany, there were only so many channels. So MTV Europe was my companion.
Yeah.
And I just watched music videos and
Yeah.
that I always liked British music and I didn't even like, sometimes you don't even know that they're British.
Mhm.
Like Radiohead, I was like, oh, they're British. And then once I was in Europe and seeing everything. So that's where, my love of Blur and Oasis and The Verve, which was actually
Yep.
1997 when that came out. So we would have just started college.
Yeah, it almost feels like an end of high school song. Was it not out for you?
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
remember, but it feels like that to me.
Yeah. That album, it's the whole album. Like, I mean, there's 5 songs I could listen, but Bittersweet Symphony is, well, there's also a personal reason too, but it's my dad's favorite song. And
Oh.
it has played at various moments to let me know that he's there.
Amazing.
Right.
So it's a
Cool.
whole other, but
Yeah.
it's just, and then what happened to them that,
Yeah.
the whole, and it's, I think Rob Harvilla does a really good episode about it for 60 Songs That Explain the 90s that breaks down all the,
Yeah.
so that's sad in itself. And then Oasis.
Sad because they wrote this song, interpolated something,
Yeah,
thought they had
with-
permission,
yeah.
and then
had no
have
publishing.
no rights over the publishing.
No.
Yeah.
And it is a work of a masterpiece.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're a slave to the money and then you die, that he writes this once in a lifetime song,
Yeah.
like, and
And
that he
it's-
doesn't even get to, I mean, many of us hold him in high regard anyway.
Yeah.
And that whole album's like perfect. Like Sonnet was making me cry this morning as I listened, and Drugs Don't Work is amazing, but that song's just perfect. It's just perfect.
It was
Yeah.
on my
Everybody
list.
loves
I
it.
did have to
Oh,
whittle
really?
down. It
Oh.
was, because I
Yeah.
mean, and I think I think the simplicity of the video, isn't it just him walking?
Yeah.
Right.
You know.
And you're like, who is this
I
guy?
love it. You're
That
like,
video.
I know all the 90s videos.
Yes.
Oh,
That was
yeah,
my work.
me too.
Yeah.
'Cause I watch them.
No. And I think, what I talked about earlier, that like the life that the song takes on,
Yeah.
like with the No Doubt, he's
Yeah.
right there. That song got sadder because it got
Yeah.
caught up in legalities.
Yeah.
And it just
Yeah.
sort of,
Yeah.
I think anyone who loves the song tries to stay away from that part of it.
Yeah.
Because it was a shame, and it
Yeah.
was not purposely
Yeah.
done. It was, a misfortune
Yeah.
of communication, that it didn't have the permissions it needed. But it was just like,
Yeah. No, I know. And then I guess Oasis wrote a song because Noel Gallagher is like, that is a perfect song, called Cast No Shadow, is about this whole situation.
I didn't
So
realize
when you
that.
re-listen, you're like, oh my gosh.
And which is why they brought him on tour.
Yeah.
Right?
It is so still profound. Like
He opened for them.
Richard Ashcroft did?
Yeah,
Okay.
Not
at least
in
for the
Europe.
London shows.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because at the LA shows, it was Cage the Elephant.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Yeah.
how apropos to have him
No.
That's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
open the London
No.
shows.
And it's just every line of that. There is no fat. It is a perfect song.
It's a beautiful song.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Also
Yeah.
sort of one of the better, more genius interpolations, if I do say so myself.
Well, and
like,
it was
really
barely,
well.
like,
Well,
Yeah,
I guess
but
it's really a sample. It's
it's
the
a
string
sample,
sample.
but
Yeah.
but well done,
Yeah.
and not a full cheat of this. I'm going to make my whole song.
and it
with this.
wasn't
Totally.
it wasn't even the Rolling Stones. The Rolling Stones, it was a song that the Rolling Stones had. And so like there were two parties that were also trying to claim, and so I heard that they got it back, but I went and looked on like ASCAP and BMI, and it still shows as
I think they may get revenue from it.
okay.
Maybe
Yeah.
that's what happens, but it's still
Okay.
the same.
Because they made a
Administrator.
public proclamation that, but
Yeah, I remember that.
but then when I was just looking, like, because I just feel like that part is so sad too.
It's incredibly sad.
Yeah.
The extra leg. That's the extra legs of.
Yeah.
And then as a music supervisor, I was under the impression you can license the publishing because it's 100% Rolling Stones, but that they didn't want to approve the master because
For
they
a
don't
long
have any part
time,
of the
I don't.
publishing.
Yeah, I don't know that I've seen it used recently. I mean, it was
I
used
don't
in
think
Great
so.
Expectations, and totally went and bought. Not Great Expectations. Cruel Intentions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great use.
That was
I
a
feel
great
like I
use.
tried.
But,
Should we try, guys?
Let's try. Challenge accepted. Leo Sayers, and so this was my dad's favorite song, and we used to share music and discuss. But even as he really declined in his Alzheimer's, I would drive around with him. We'd go
And play it.
during COVID, go get Starbucks, and he'd go, "Can we drive a little longer? I want to listen to the song again." And so that like it stayed with him, which is just the beauty and power of music. But yeah, I know. Like there was this there's like 5 instances, but the one that was like pretty crazy was for him to be like, "Oh, I'm like, hey dad, my mom was in the hospital. I had to get to New Orleans. I was like gonna miss a flight, and I just threw things in a bag, but then it was like I was gonna miss the bag cutoff time.
Oof.
And they're saying like you have to fly the next day. And there was no way. Like I had to be there. She was in critical care. And so the Delta agent was like, no, we have to rebook you tomorrow. But I'd called ahead while I was in the Uber, and I got an angel of a customer service person at the Delta, and she was just like, you need to go be with your mom. Just convince TSA.
Yeah.
We'll check your bag at the gate. Just convince TSA. So I was like, okay. And so I get there, and Delta's like, no, it's not happening. And I was like, you don't understand. I have
Yeah.
to be there. Like she is all alone. Like no. And they're like, no. And I'm like, let me just go try. All of a sudden, the Delta agent's phone started ringing with the verbs Bittersweet Symphony.
Kismet.
And I was
That's
like,
crazy.
oh, that's my dad. And I just ran, and the
Yeah.
TSA were like, yeah, no problem. Like, they could see I was
Yeah.
visibly like, this is, like, they've had to have encountered,
Your
like, this
dad's
is,
like, I'm getting you through security.
yeah, he's like, I
Yeah.
got this.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And then recently I heard the song, and then and something happened, but I didn't know yet. So I hear the song, and I was just like, oh, hey, Dad, like, and then I told my sister, and she goes, I heard the song. I was at the dry cleaners, and my sister was at a Dick's Sporting Goods. And then it was like, oh, he's like, I got
It's
this,
this.
ladies. I'll look after
Isn't
mom
that
because
cool?
something happened to my mom
Yeah.
again. But he's like, no, I got this.
I don't have that with
Yeah.
anyone, but who knows?
You never know.
You
Well,
never
the
know.
music was
Yeah.
always their thing. So you may have
Yeah.
other things. Like
Yeah.
my mom had a good friend who, whenever
Yeah.
we see a ladybug, we're like, oh, hi, Sally.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's all different, like some people say like a bumblebee or feather. And I mean, there's all kind of things. Electricity. Some people say electricity.
We'll see.
Yes.
Now, if we were just inviting you on the show today and just asking, what is your favorite sad song of all time? Would any of your answers be different, or is there another song you would name?
Yeah, like all time.
Yeah.
No, not just 90s.
I mean, one song that just guts me, and I don't even think it's really a sad song, it's just really emotional, is the Sampha song.
Oh yeah. You were like, you need
My
to cover
mother's
this.
piano. No one knows me like my mother's piano. And it's really, I mean, it's a simple song about how he became a musician on his mother's piano, but there's something, I don't know, super poignant about it. And then I'd heard no, I won't repeat, but I'd heard a backstory that was sad
Mhm.
about when he wrote the song about the piano. And then I'm at the show seeing him. I'd heard the first record. I was a huge fan. I go to the show. Someone tells me the story. He starts singing the song, and I'm just a flood of tears. And I don't think I've
Wow.
ever
At a
cried
show.
at a show.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But hearing what the background was, not so much what the song was about, but everything that was going on around him when he put, shall we say, pencil to paper and wrote the song. And I was just like, I can't hear it.
Yeah.
If I put it on, I'll just. And I think it's knowing a little bit of the backstory, but also sometimes I just think there's this magical fairy dust in somebody's voice
Mm.
that they could be singing gibberish,
Yeah.
but you feel it so deeply, and
Yeah.
that's what this song is.
Yeah.
It's not sad words,
Yeah, there's just
but
something.
there's just something in there, even if you took away a little bit of the sadness that the song was born out of, the time
Yeah,
that
it's
he
just
wrote
like
it.
it connects to your heart. Like another one I was gonna put on here was his Massive Attack is like desert island, like, and I put on Protection with Tracy Thorn for the vocals, and I was like, yeah, why do I think it's sad? And I can't even articulate it, but it does, like, literally there's just
Yeah.
something to my heart, and I feel
It cuts you to your quick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I don't know why, but it's
Which is funny because I'm
Yeah.
pointing out lyrics and stuff, but
Yeah.
no one knows me like my mother's piano is not a sad phrase, but something about everything
Or
that
maybe it
it's
is.
cushioned in. Yeah. And I also know it's weird. I have a good friend who's just a prolific piano player, and Reuben James, and he's posted pictures and videos of himself when he was doing a move, and it was of him playing on the first piano that he sort of learned to play on. So there's clearly
Yeah.
this
Mm.
connection for
Yeah.
musicians. The first thing
Oh,
that they
sure.
learned on, or the one instrument that they, used to write, the foundations of their songs. There's something really important and solid and foundational in that. And so I think
Yeah.
put all that together in a song mixing bowl and you can make me cry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
It's really powerful when something moves you to tears in the room,
Yeah.
like live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
That's
makes
pretty
you
cool.
like, oh, I'm not dead inside. I don't, just
What's wrong with Laura? Apparently she thinks she's dead. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, there's just days you're just so like
Right, yeah.
robotic, like you do your routine, whatever. And I like that. Like, I like that part of our job. We're just listening, and all of a sudden I'm like, whoa, wait, what?
Yeah.
And that I do feel something because there's a lot out there, and it's not even now. It's just that we listen to a lot of music, and like some you just really can't recall, but the ones that do that floor you, or they're like, what?
Oh, well, this,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you're half listening even because you're doing something else.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the hair on your arm goes up and you go, oh, wait a minute. Let me
And
turn all my attention to this.
Yep.
Like, something's going on that only a part of my system has registered.
And then I immediately replay it because I'm like, hold on, I gotta like sit with this.
Just playing a whole song through, I think, is a testament.
Honestly,
If you really, if
So
you were
true.
to put a spy cam, you
I
know,
know.
there aren't enough hours in the day to always listen to every song
No,
in
of
its
course not.
entirety. So, like, if you see a music supervisor listening to a song from beginning to end and it's not even attached to a task,
And then go back
you've
and
won.
like,
You've
or-
won.
You've won.
yeah,
totally.
you go and listen to it multiple times too.
Yeah.
Like, because people are like, oh, what disc do you have on repeat? Which also that's a dated phrase, by the way. But anyway, what record do you have on repeat? And you're like, a whole album? I don't.
Yeah.
Like,
I have
but I do. There are some.
I have a
yeah.
folder where I put stuff that I really like
Me
and
too.
don't want to get lost, and the folder's just called Rockin' on My Own Dime, which is just, this is what I listen to when no one's paying me.
Yeah.
Nice.
I have it's called I Dig playlist.
Yeah.
Is it in your Swinzian or is it on your desktop?
I have
Or
my
Spotify?
Swinzian, and then I also have my Apple Music, which is so when I update my phone, it's on there too, like for road trips and things like that. But yeah, it's just, and I mean, sometimes there's like newer albums and things that I want to give a proper listen to outside of the systems in my office.
Like when I'm driving or
When I'm
something.
driving, plug in my phone and like listen to an album from beginning to end, things like that. So that's my like,
It's so hard. I find it really hard. Like I'll start and then it's like I get pulled away, and then you're like, okay, no, I need to sit and like I want to hear the whole album, and it's just harder.
or I set up my ironing board in my office. That's my secret way of listening.
At your ironing board.
Yeah,
Are you
I set up my
ironing?
ironing board and I'll iron and I'll know that
Oh.
because I'm halfway across the room
Uh-huh.
and I'm ironing, I'm not gonna fast forward.
Oh,
I'm gonna put this on and I'm gonna listen
That's good.
and get a shirt done at the same time.
Madonna ironing makes perfect sense. My mom loves ironing too because you see results
Yeah.
very quickly
that
and it
makes
looks
sense.
nice and clean and here that's just like so perfect.
I have
But
a
it's a
whole-
nice way
yeah.
to also I think a lot of people use music to lighten a task.
Mhm.
People put on music while they're cleaning the house. People put on music while they're gardening. So it just so happens that putting on music while I'm ironing is kind of working.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
killing two
Yeah.
birds with one stone. And
Yeah.
it is just a chance if I'm not, because so much of my time, I can't speak for everyone, but so much of my time listening is often project based, that carving out time to listen just for pleasure would seem like a really easy thing to do, but it's not. Yes, I will listen in my car, but if I've been listening for 8 hours in my
Gotta rest
office,
your ears.
I'm
Yeah.
going to NPR in my car.
Exactly.
I
Oh,
don't
totally. Yeah.
or I'm gonna or
Or
I'm gonna,
silence.
or I'm gonna put on the shittiest sort of pop radio station where I'm not going to care what is playing.
Right, because you're like,
I agree. I also
It's
think
like
there's
having
something
the
about
TV on in
radio,
the background.
but also like,
Yeah.
oh, they'll just decide, and
Yeah.
and then I'll also like pick up a little bit about what the kids are listening to.
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly.
What are the youngins
like
What
into?
is
on
everybody know?
vacation or whatever? I like don't listen at all. Like I just need silence. Like,
Really?
well, it's
Fair.
like you'll hear things in restaurants or whatever, but I'm just sort of like, no, it's my break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But only if I've been listening a lot. Otherwise, it's the fuel for me to do things
Yeah.
and to do them without timing them or thinking about
Right.
it. Have a speaker in the kitchen,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I have two supervisor questions.
Yeah. Good.
What's your funniest playlist? If you like that you like, we all have our playlists that we make. Like what's your funniest playlist?
DYAO, Dance Your Ass Off.
Okay, like it.
Nice.
Good.
And it's
Alright.
and
That's
it's
that's gonna be a banger.
yeah, so it's the DYAO playlist, and I put, like, things you can dance to that I like,
Yeah.
and so if I need a break, I do a one-woman dance-off in my
Yeah.
office, like, I'll take a break, and sometimes it's funny because my husband will come upstairs like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I just needed a dance break," and he's like, "Okay, I'm in," and, like,
Aw.
That's
2
cute.
people just dancing in the office, and
Love
so,
it.
anytime I hear something that I feel like is a good party banger thing that would make you dance,
Yeah.
'Cause it is a thing
DYAO.
that you have to look for sometimes for
Oh, yeah.
searches, and
Yeah.
not every song is that.
No.
No.
You know?
There's 2 on the new Iconopop. I'm like, "Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's coming out. It's good.
Interesting.
It's good." And then second question, what are some I mean, you don't have to just pick one, but, like, what are some of your proudest music supervision moments? Placements?
I mean, I always talk about the theme for Smallville.
And
'Cause
One
What
Tree Hill.
and what's the
And
story?
yeah,
Yeah.
that we had a Jennifer and I had a meeting in Atlantic that day, and, back in the day, you'd leave the meeting, and they'd give you a bag of CDs, and we came back to the office, and I'm pretty sure it was a Friday, and we took the pile, and we divided it in half, and I specifically said because I knew some of the guys from Remy Zero
Yeah.
through friends, and I was like, "Oh, I want that one in my pile." And we'd been given this assignment. Brian Robbins had said, "Look, Warner Brothers wants the theme for Smallville to be score." And we were agreeing, like, young people aren't looking for a score theme, especially when you're, like, looking at Superman as a younger man. Like, it's
Yeah.
the age doesn't match up with, like,
Right.
some Hans Zimmer score. Like, it
Yeah.
just didn't fit, and
Yeah.
so we were in agreement that it should be a song, and so we were given this assignment, like, "Find the theme to Smallville." I was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
Um, so we divvied up this pile, and we each took home a pile, and then I walked in the office on Monday, and I had a CD in my hand. I said, "I think I found the theme." And it was "Save Me"
By Remy Zero.
by
Yeah,
Remy
which was
Zero,
massive.
and I sent
Aw.
it
Yeah.
we sent it to Brian. He's like, "I'm going to fight for this," and
Great.
that became the theme. I mean, the band sadly outlived the band being together and stuff, but I was like, "Oh, that's not bad." And it felt
Yeah.
really good. And
Yeah.
then you don't think that lightning can strike twice, and then they came back and were like, "Do it again, but for One Tree Hill." And while I didn't find the theme, I found Gavin DeGraw. Karen Lamberton had sent me this 4-song EP, and I was like, "Yeah, something about this guy." And I sent it to Joe Davola, and he was like, "Yeah, I like this guy, but I want a different song." And I kept saying,
Oh, that wasn't one of the 4 songs?
"No."
Okay.
And I
didn't
was
realize
like,
that.
I was like,
Yeah.
"Joe, this is a 4-song EP. Like, this is what you have to choose
Yeah.
from." He's like, "No." And so I was like, "Karen, like, can you find more songs?
Yeah.
Like, he likes him. We all like him,
Uh-huh.
but he wants something else." And so
Yeah.
I guess there was
They
probably,
the
like,
album
songs
was out, so she must
it
have been
started
like
as an
I
EP, I
remember
think.
that, yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
but so it ended up
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I've never done it since, in part because they no longer
Licensed songs.
I
license
know.
songs for the themes of
Yeah.
TV
Was
shows.
it and are they when people watch them in syndication now, can you
Yeah.
it still has them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
They
Because then
locked
there
them
was
up.
that period, like, I never saw Friday Night Lights with the original music. I only ever saw it as the rescored.
swap
Oh, they
out.
did rescore it?
Yeah, so
Oh, I
well,
didn't
that's the
realize that.
only
Well, and then
one
they did
yeah,
that. We
really Felicity.
did it on some shows.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which then
Yeah.
people it's really bizarre because sometimes you'll meet someone who was a fan of the
Yeah.
show,
Oh, I know.
and then they went and they got the DVD, and they'll come up to you and
Yeah.
they're, "Hey,
Oh, yeah.
I loved this song and it's not in there," and you're just like,
I know.
"Eh."
Like, I know, but my super fan coordinator helped, and
Yeah.
she said it was okay. No.
Yeah.
I know, like, Carrie Hughes and I worked on the Hills rescore, and that's what you see now.
Yeah.
Like, it's what we did, but yeah, people are anyway.
Original fans
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
take umbrage
Yes.
when you swap things out. So
Yes.
What is the like on the Superman topic, what do you think is a music supervisor's superpower?
I feel like we're musical empaths. Like, that's how I describe myself because I feel like you're given something on paper more often than not if you start a project from the script stage. And so you read something that was created out of somebody else's feelings. So your first step is you have to understand someone else's feelings. Then you have to put it into your own little machine and figure out how you relate to what somebody else was feeling. And then you have to reach out and find a piece of music that resonates enough with you and can translate to them.
Mhm.
And I think that's a real talent because the biggest thing and that people make a mistake about and misconception about what we do is that people believe that we have really good taste in music. We do. But that is not, excuse me, what it takes to do our job. To do our job well is to understand other people and how it's going to resonate with other people. And I like to think that that superpower for me was born out of when I was a kid. My mom was a big jazz fan, and we used to go to this pub in Montreal, Sir Winston Churchill Pub, and they would have jazz on Sundays. And we would sit on the terrace, and my mom would say, "Let's people watch." And so we would watch people and we would invent the stories of these different people.
Wait, by the way, my parents did this with me too a little
Yeah.
bit. They didn't say let's people watch, but they'd be like, "Oh, what do you think's happening over there? Like they're on the first date." Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we would people watch and we would create these stories about these people that we saw. So when you're doing that, it's a real talent to observe somebody and pick out the little things that inform you about what's happening over there. And so when I'm music supervising now, I'm looking at the words on the paper. I've got to the point where I have enough trust with a lot of my showrunners that the set decoration and the production designers send me photos. I ask for photos of the sets so that I understand from people watching what the environment looks like and what the people in that environment are listening to. So it's like all these weird little details that I think sometimes people don't look at and people don't consider, but for us, it's part of the recipe of everything that we have to put together, make it work so that when it goes out to the world, it lands.
Mhm.
And I don't think everybody can do that without implementing their personal taste.
Right.
I can hear a song that I think is terrible and I hate it, but it might be absolutely the right song for that scene. So I think
Mhm.
that the biggest superpower is removing our own egos and our own personal taste. And then the second layer of it is understanding people, understanding words, understanding choices. That the choices the characters are making all inform how they sound. Our job is to be an additional character on the screen. You just can't see us, you can only hear us.
Mhm.
But that's how we fit into it, that's how we support it, that's how we move it forward. All of those things are too many things that don't think about in their everyday life, but
Right.
that's how we do our job. We're looking, we're listening, we're reading, we're understanding, we're analyzing. Mix it in a bowl, and then go and find a song that doesn't spoil the recipe.
Yeah. I think of myself as an empath, so then I'm
Yeah,
like, "Oh yeah, that's why this works."
Yeah.
yeah,
I think there is something to that.
Yeah.
'Cause they're just like, I'll watch other things and I'm like, "But I need to feel." And like when there's something just kinda mid, you're like, "But I wanna feel."
but that's why
Yeah.
we could sit here for a month and talk about sad songs
Totally.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I think it's just like I said, it's a different wiring. Like we
Mhm.
hear the world differently than other people, and
Mhm.
it's like a little lightning bolt. It goes much farther through our body than maybe
Mhm.
the average person. And then
Yeah.
just understanding how to translate that out to the world, how to explain to the people you're working with. You
Yeah.
know, I always tell this funny story of I got it in my head. I was working on American Crime with John Ridley, and we were going through the pilot, and he was stopping at every scene where I had put music. And we stopped at this one scene that was in a garage owned by, a Mexican immigrant, and I had actually put country western music in it. And I did this like rabbit hole deep dive explanation of why I thought it was the right piece of music.
Mm-hmm.
And rather than make me just continue to explain it, he just looked at me and he goes, I don't understand why you feel this way about this, but you are so deep and passionate about it. I'm not going to argue with you. Leave the song. And I was like, yes,
Yeah.
maybe we can't always explain how we do our
Yeah.
job.
It's just
And I
like this
couldn't,
feels
I
this.
was like going down this rabbit hole trying to explain something that was really quite internal. And he
Right.
was just like, that's enough. Like,
Well, it's like a chef like innately will know like, no, this needs coriander or
Yeah.
something maybe, and we're like, no, this needs country western.
yeah. And I
Yeah.
just think there's more layers to how we receive music than maybe the average person.
What project for you, lastly, before you go, what project for you? Like Lindsay's is the Reality Bites, mine's Train Spotting. That like
Inspired
made
you.
I know you didn't know that supervision was a thing, but like if you had to guess, like that you could zero in on supervision
I
or made you take notice of music and film, I guess, or something.
It's the weirdest, most obscure thing, but no one will get this. But the first time I watched something and was old enough to really be moved
Mm-hmm.
by the music was there was this film in English it was called Betty Blue, and in French it was 37.2 le matin. And it's I think there's almost no dialogue in this film. And
Who's
it
the
was
director?
I couldn't tell
Oh.
you the director, I couldn't tell you the composer, but I just remember being frozen. I was so enthralled and saw it in a theater. And I just remember thinking, outside of listening to music for pleasure
Yeah.
and dancing around my bedroom to the Jackson 5, I had never been like so stopped in my tracks.
Hmm.
I was stopped in my tracks. I don't know if I even still have it. The minute I could buy it on a CD, I
Yeah.
did.
Huh.
And I was like, this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was mostly score?
Yeah. And it's a
Interesting.
super,
Was it big in Canada or Montreal?
37.2 le
Yeah.
matin. I mean,
Yeah.
because
Was
I
it
would
a
go to
French
French.
or Canadian movie?
I think it was a French film
Okay.
and translated
Yeah.
as Betty Blue. And
Yeah.
growing up in Montreal,
Yeah.
when my French was better, it was not unusual. I would go to a French film.
Sure,
It's
sure.
not a big deal.
Yeah.
But so this was just, I couldn't put my finger on it, but I also couldn't take my finger off it.
And that's some of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
cool.
I mean, it's a super, like, I think if I recall correctly, like there's maybe some mental illness, like there's really heavy duty themes in this. And the fact that they could get it over the finish line like that
Mm-hmm.
without a lot of words, that the music could move you along with what was happening on the screen. I was just, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Anyway, anything fun that you're working on that you're excited about?
I've just wrapped the second season of Ransom Canyon.
Oh,
Woohoo.
fun.
Do we know when it comes out?
I think this
Right.
summer.
Okay.
Probably this summer. There's 8 episodes.
On Netflix, everybody.
We have a music festival in it. So there's a pretty epic on camera coming up.
Fun.
No spoilers. And then, I mean, probably one of the last 2 things that I've worked on that I'm still getting reactions from, but I will get some more is we've wrapped the final season of All American season 8,
Aw.
but it's not coming
Season
out.
8.
It doesn't start airing until July. So,
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't know if you've ever had this when you wrapped a show, but I have never been in a room with 100 people, all of us crying.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was
Yes.
It's
wild.
awesome.
I mean, 8 years. 8
Yeah.
years. Like
No, I had that with Teen Wolf.
people
And it
grew
was,
up, someone had
yeah.
a baby.
Yeah.
kids, it was wild. So I'm looking forward to the final season of that coming out. And then a project that I did last summer that came out earlier this year, um, that I get a lot of taps on the shoulder that people are like, I loved it, was the Eddie Murphy documentary,
Aw.
Being Eddie. A lot
Yeah.
of people have really liked it. I'll be very transparent and say there's only 3 licensed songs in it, and there is a composer on it, but there's about 18 other pieces of instrumental songs that I was responsible for, literally having to transition every era of his career and support what the composer was doing and literally audibly move people from him talking about himself as a teenager all the
Aw.
way through
Yeah.
SNL, his movie career, full circle to going back to SNL.
Oh, cool.
And, any little film, like the sound of that film and then finding the music that sits under the story about that
Yeah.
film. Yeah.
This was so fun.
I
Thank
know,
you for
this-
being
Thank
here.
you. This was really nice.
It's fun
This
to
is
have
really
you,
nice.
and you are very special to both of us. So thank you for being
So
here.
true.
Well, thank you. I
Yay.
look to you two as barometer readings myself.
Aw, likewise.
Thank you for joining us today on Sad Song Queens, because you always need a good cry. We will link these songs on our show page and on our Spotify playlist. Please also like, comment, and subscribe wherever you find podcasts. Huge thanks to Madonna Wade-Reed. Thank you to Rob Seals for engineering our episode and the Songwriting School of Los Angeles for letting us record live at Enterprise Studios. Special production thanks to David Raymond, Avery Piantadozzi, Jordan Lindsley, and our producer, May Rogers. Our theme song is All My Favorite Songs by Weezer, and our outro music is by Wyatt Rouse.